You did 10 songs on this live album.
I did, yeah.
Did you do it all in one sitting, or did you kind of do like a couple nights and then choose your best performances?
So it was all from one night. There were, I think overall, it's somewhere between 15 and 18 songs throughout the evening. And, what I did was just try and whittle it down to my favorites out of the night. And it was tough, man. I mean, because part of my, like, maybe it's ego, maybe it's just purism, maybe it's, whatever, fill in the blank. But I didn't want to punch anything. I didn't want to, like, adjust anything in post. I wanted it to be as raw and pure as possible. So I had to cut, like, probably my favorite arrangement out of that night, because there was one flub that stuck out like a sore thumb, man. And it was my arrangement of The Sound of Silence. Oh. And so, and I mean, I've heard this about, like, young directors, young musicians. It's like something you're going to have to come to terms with is, like, you're probably going to have to get rid of your favorite scene.
Yeah.
You're probably going to have to cut your favorite song. You're probably going to have to, and you're going to have to, grow up and live with that, and, and just put it out there. And so it's like, you know what? All the more reason to keep putting out more stuff.
Yeah, totally, man. Totally. It's got to be so nerve-wracking, though, when you're up there and you get one take on everything.
Yeah, it was kind of, I kind of threw it all together at the last minute without anybody's permission. It was like, well, it started out with a Facebook post. It was like, because it was just going to be a regular show at the Blue Jay, which, is, I mean, I've played a ton of places over the years, and the Blue Jay is still, to this day, my favorite venue to play at. It just happens to be right here in Jax Beach.
Yeah.
Know? And I just got this wild hair. It's like, yeah, so anybody who plans on coming, just make sure, you cheer extra loud, and, you dress extra nice, because you're going to be on a video. You're going to be on my next album, because it's going to be recorded video, like high def video. It's going to be my next album. And, so I threw the post up there, got a bunch of attention. Then I text Kara. I was like, oh, by the way, do you mind if we do this? 'Cause, everybody's kind of expecting it now. And of course she was cool with it,
She's
and,
awesome
and it was
that.
the first time, she had done anything like that. And I got the guys at NFS Records, Ryan Leroy and John Mike, to come work their magic. And, it couldn't have gone any smoother, man.
That's awesome, man. I mean, the quality was so good on it. I mean,
6K video cameras was crazy.
I haven't
They had just gotten some new. If you just look on the YouTube page, if you search Taylor Roberts Live at the Blue Jay, there's the 10 tracks that made the album, and then a few extras on there too.
Okay, so that's awesome. That was actually one of my questions on here. Have you thought about doing like a video thing? But you did that already.
It's out there.
So that's awesome. I gotta find that.
Yeah, we actually shoot in NBA 2K on our podcast.
Shut the fuck up.
That's a good one.
18 songs total you played, or 15?
Something around that, yeah.
Like why? Like, what was it like having to make that choice on some of the songs? Like, was there some songs that were performed well, and you were just like, it doesn't matter, I have to like cut this out?
Part of it was diversity. That's a big thing for me. Is I want, obviously, like, fast songs, slow songs, stylistic, change things up as much as possible. But I also have to kind of, like, understand that, like, this day and age, people aren't really listening to, like, double albums anymore.
Right.
For better or worse, whatever. I mean, my last album, A Day in the Life, there were 15 tracks on there. It was pretty long, and even the guy who engineered the album and mixed and mastered, he was like, this is kind of a long album, you might want to. I was like, no, I want all these songs, And, whatever, it's out there. But, I figured it would maybe be a little bit more digestible while still having as much variety as I could provide. So there'd be a little something for everybody.
Totally. I love the set list, man. It's
Thanks,
like really just kind of captures every era, every genre. What's the preparation like going into this as far as your practice and stuff?
Well, shoot. I mean, as far as like really buckling down and practicing, like, I'm gonna like totally tell on myself here, because most of the practicing I do nowadays is really kind of more or less on the gig, on the steady gigs that I do, because it's in a restaurant at a hotel. And it's not. I mean, I did the bulk of my real, like, woodshedding, whatever you want to call it, when I was in school, and I was in the practice room 8 hours a day on a regular basis, and that's when a lot of the stuff was really in like that pressure cooker sort of environment, where I was just like learning new shit every day and just like trying to digest as much as possible. And it's sort of like over the past 20 years, gradually marinated into whatever it is I do now. But yeah, I mean, I made a point to kind of come up with a set list and then focus on those songs and play those repeatedly on the gigs, almost, like the way comedians work out their sets on stage, like when they're on the road before they record, I mean, that's kind of not that I'm a comedian, just ask my girlfriend. But it was a good way to sort of get used to playing those songs and to try and play them as execute them as well as possible in front of a crowd, before the actual night happened.
Yeah. So. That's definitely, I think the grind is very similar with comedians and musicians in that way, because
very much.
You can't really practice comedy at home. I mean, you can in front of a mirror, but you need a crowd. And
yeah,
works or not.
Totally. And there's an aspect
with your songs too before you like record it, or like if you're going to do a live album. I guess that's the comparison you're making.
Yeah, well, just in general, I think that you can write songs for yourself and you can love the music, but you don't really know if it works until you get it in front of a crowd. And then the songs are constantly evolving, whether it's an original piece or whether it's an arrangement of a song. You're going to be adjusting things based on how the crowd reacts to what you're doing, I think. And that's very much how I approach it anyways, So it's very similar grind in that way. And I'm kind of in the same boat. I do a lot of shedding on things that I don't know how to do. Yeah. But like, cause there's a lot, right?
Oh, it's always.
but as far as like tunes that I've like, gotten a basic understanding on, I'll just work out the rest of it on the gig, whether I have the lyrics 100% down or whether I have the progression 100% down, or if I know how I'm going to take a solo or when I'm going to take a solo, I figure all that stuff out on the gig.
And I think there's value to both types of practice. And I mean, there's things you can get out of practicing on the gig that you can't get out of practicing at home, and vice versa.
Right. And there's an aspect of that pressure that's there too on the gig where, it's if you don't nail this, then you look like an asshole.
Yeah. And you can't be like in front of a crowd, just be like, oh shit, let me start that over again.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, you can, but
yeah,
it's not gonna help your standing.
Yeah, you don't want to be that guy. And like, and it's cool because like part of what's interesting about the bar gigs that I've been able to really utilize them in this capacity is to try things out that I don't know if I can really nail just yet.
It's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun taking those risks, man.
Yeah, because it's like a lot of the time, like you're just wallpaper anyways. So it's like you can just take those risks and no one really notices. Or if you really nail it and that one person that does, you're just like, fuck yes.
Yep.